So that's about where I'll leave it right there. How about that for an answer?
I think you gave it a lot on that one. Really,
But yes, that is yours. It is tasty. It is one of the two that is dangerously close to the finish line with our friends north of the border that I know you're extremely excited about.
I just got done sending an email to our friends north of the border about 2 minutes ago.
I love it.
I am very hyped on that.
I want to get permission. I want to get permission from the guys to use that brand that you've developed as a case study for one of these shows. I think it's just going to be a really good. I think it's just going to be a really good analysis of what you're given, where you are, and just really just creating something out of thin air. I think it's going to be a really kind of cool case study. And I know you're fired up about it for many reasons, because number one, if there was ever a brand that is up your alley, it's this one, number one. But number two, I just think it's a really fun way for somebody to kind of study creating something out of nothing. So I think we should do that.
Yes, I could not be more excited about that. I think that, I don't want to steal their thunder, so I don't want to give anything away. I think that the connection between what the brand is about, what it looks like, and why people are going to buy it is incredibly strong. And I am very excited to share that with the world.
And I'm very excited. I'm going to move these around over here, and I'm going to put a spot for the flag, because it will be one of my new favorite showpieces. So I have to find somebody who prints flags. If you're listening to this either live or in the next week, and you know somebody that prints big flag, not like golf flags, but I'm talking about like, I don't know what, like this big. Like I want like a big flag with this brand. Don't we know somebody?
I got a guy.
All right, let's make that happen. Can we?
1,000%.
So let's do this. The elephant in the room.
Wait, time out real quick. Are you recording? So I forgot to hit the button and that was gold in the beginning.
Wait a minute. You're not recording? Imagine that.
I didn't hit the button yet.
I am recording.
Can you send it to me after?
Of course.
Okay. Back to your regularly scheduled intro.
So the elephant in the room is, the vaccines are coming. The vaccines for the coronavirus. It's going to take a long time. Siobhan's probably going to get her first one here in the next probably 2 weeks, which is exciting for us, obviously. And I think it's interesting. You and I touched on this on a couple of calls that we had jointly together. I think it's good on one side for business, but I also think it's a little bit negative, to be honest with you. I think what we're seeing. I'm not getting political, but just kind of, putting my, political science hat on. I think people are a little bit letting their guard down because they're hearing the news and it's like, oh, we must be super, super close. I actually had a conversation with somebody who thought that everybody was going to be able to have the vaccine on like the 15th. And I think that might be potentially a really kind of dangerous thing to not be up on. But my question is this: how has that changed your advice for your current clients? Has it, number one, and number two, how has it changed your current advice over these next, realistically, probably still about 6 months?
It has not changed it whatsoever. Mm-hmm. For the mere purpose, it is going to be infinitely easier to adjust to life being back to normal than it is to adjust to COVID life lasting longer than we anticipated. Mm-hmm. And if there's one thing that, if you're paying attention, the last 9 months have taught us is that nobody really knows anything about anything. Not being pessimistic and saying shit won't work. I'm sure it will, and I'm sure it'll be a big help. But whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's 2 months, whether it's 6 months, you can't really plan on that.
Yep.
With the information that we have. So our advice has stayed exactly the same as it has been for the last 9 months, which is let's plan as if today is the norm
Yep.
and do everything that we can to be able to succeed in this environment going forward.
Yep.
And if vaccines kick in and whatever reason, as things start to get better, then guess what? Like, our playbook's written already for that. So if we can put in and execute a plan right now that's going to let us succeed in this world that you're in, as soon as you walk out that door, we're in really good shape, you know? And I think the other thing, and like we've talked about it a dozen times, whether it's the world accelerating out there, whether it's living in beautiful upstate New York where winters are less than stellar and people aren't really going out of the house for much, period. It's not like all of this innovative new stuff that you're doing now is just going to go away. It's all stuff that we're going to have to do in the future anyway. So the more that we prepare and test and perfect that now, the better position we're going to be in down the road.
Yep. Yep. I love it. It's funny. For those of you that don't know, my wife is in the final couple of weeks of getting her advanced degree, and she saved her favorite class for last. She saved 20th century history for her last class. And one of the things that she's reading about and learning and relearning about is the eradication of the Spanish flu in 1919. And a lot of people, I didn't realize this, because number one, I wasn't a huge history fan, coming up. I'm actually learning more now as I get more into it. But I didn't realize that the eradication or the vaccination for the Spanish flu basically was the reason for the Roaring Twenties back in the 1920s. So it's amazing how literally history repeats itself, where it looks like the eradication of the coronavirus is going to set up what I think, in my opinion, these next 20, the end of 2021, 2022, 2023, I mean, no joke, this is going to be a 24 to 30 month straight up MTV party. I mean, this is going to be unbelievable what's about to happen. So the advice I'm giving to people is it's simply the NCAA tournament. Survive in advance. Just hold your breath for the next 6 months, put down the groundwork that you're hopefully still been doing since you and I started talking about this. But holy smokes, man, the wheels are going to come off this summer.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I'm laughing is because we were on a call a couple days ago and Ben drops this line on how the eradication of the Spanish flu is what led to the Roaring Twenties. And I'm like, God damn, Ben, like where'd you come up with that? And now that makes sense to me. So that's why I was chuckling. But I mean, dude, you're 100% right. People are everything that you haven't been able to do for the last 9 months. People are going to go out and do it at a rate that we've never seen before. Go out to dinner with friends. Heaven forbid you just drink a beer at the bar with the crew.
Yeah.
Go into a minor league baseball game if you guys are watching. All stuff that we took for granted so much, I think. And again, it's funny how this show at the end of the week is just straight up catharsis for me. It's going to be great 6 months from now if you start doing the work now to get ready for it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we always talk about, it's not that all of this good stuff is coming. All of this potential is coming. And if you just approach it where as soon as the vaccine's out, everything's just going to magically be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know about that. But if you start working now for Memorial, you should be, I'm going to look directly into our camera for this one. If you're not planning what you're going to be doing as a business, as a brand, as a solopreneur, whatever, if you are not planning what you're going to be doing for Memorial Day weekend of 2021, right now, on December 4th at 4:18, you're fucking up. You just are.
Yep.
So that's the big thing. Is it going to be the Roaring Twenties again? 1,000%. 1,000%. Because all we've done is just rip all this stuff away from people, and now you're just giving it all back to them at once. It's going to be like just kids in a candy store. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. We're going to have a couple more months to grind through.
Yep.
But it's going to be fun.
You know, but at least there's a finish line. Apparently, at least there's a finish line in sight. It's still, it's not within reach just yet. I mean, it's on the horizon, but you have time. You have 5 months. You know, even if our good friend Beth Ann, the photographer, is checking in. She says live music. I mean, concerts are going to be attended more than ever before. Sporting events are going to be attended more than ever before. I mean, you name it. People are just going to be pulling out money and just throwing it at it. I mean, the reason I've had some success in kind of the celebrity drink space is because that touring revenue that they used to enjoy was just eradicated for for almost 16 months. So a lot of these guys are diversifying their portfolio by bringing in other streams of revenue, whether it be beverage or whether it be content creation or whether it be TikTok or whether it be whatever it is. But now they're like, wait a minute. They're starting to book concerts again, end of August, early September. And now they're thinking of, okay, wait a minute, this drink here, this, which used to be a revenue extension, is now going to be sold at the concert for $5, $6, $7, $8. So now all of a sudden, they're going to put hundreds of thousands of more dollars, but we're planning those things now. We're having the foresight to say, here's what's going to happen today. Sure, it stinks today, but we're laying the groundwork. And it's all about that 80-20 investment that you and I always talk about.
Yeah, 1,000%, man. I had a conversation today. You know, we had a client come in that has been a good client with us for a while. And, just the new stuff that we've put out, the planning, the strategizing, what happens before and after marketing is, all stuff that we've worked on. And he's just kind of came in. He's actually his day off. He's just a psychopath, so he's still working. And just talking about the whole thing. And before I could even, because people will come in hey, what are you working on? Because they know that we're invested in that 80-20 rule. We're hardcore on our 80, but the 20 is always churning. So we literally got through this whole thing where we have 3 new service offerings since he's signed his most recent contract, which is in June, 6 months ago. And I'm like, hey, do you think this stuff makes sense? And he's like, well, I had to hire somebody to do this, which is basically the new offerings. But in a weird way, we're a better investment than having a full-time person in a lot of cases.
Yep.
So we have a meeting next Tuesday. That quick, and it's just opportunities just create themselves so much out there. It's just wild, and it's weird. Everybody thinks that it's so complicated and that your sales process is so in depth and all this kind of stuff. But people that get it, just get it.
Yep.
Me and you were laughing earlier. For as much as I get in my own head sometimes thinking I got to outline this whole value prop and how we're going to justify it and what are they going to be, you put it out there and you get 2/3 of the way through. Yeah, sounds great. Nope, that's definitely what we got to do. Yeah, yeah, we should start that now.
Okay. So full disclosure, Adam and I also vent to each other on phone calls sometimes too. So today was the I have to vent. Hit me up, bro, in 5 minutes phone call, but that's what that was. But that's the point though. It's healthy. It's healthy to get it out. You got to get it out and get somebody else's perspective to say, this isn't the end of the world. It's going to be fine. It's not life or death. You have to repeat that business, in a lot of perspective it's what you do for, hopefully you enjoy what you do is what I'm trying to say. But ultimately, it's just to support what you're doing outside those 4 walls. I mean, that's really when you boil it down to it, it's I stand in this room for 8, 9, 10, hopefully not more than that, to support all the other rooms in this house. That's literally what it is. It's having that kind of perspective.
Right. Well, and I think with that perspective comes the fact that a lot of times when one thing's going wrong, being, especially in just the world you and I operate in, we're like, you're over invested in a lot of cases, but B, you want so bad to succeed for your clients and your people that sometimes everything's always our fault, right? Even when it isn't. And then sometimes when something breaks with a client that is not your fault whatsoever, and frankly isn't even anything that you're getting paid for, you can almost default and like everything sucks.
Yeah.
Everybody hates me. Nothing's working. You know, but then I think sometimes you just kind of, with that perspective, you break it down and be like, no, this is one thing with one person on one day. Mm-hmm. Literally everything else over here is dynamite, just cruising, amazing, right? So like, I think in a lot of times, and like you and I have both had to lean on each other for that this week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need to talk it out, mm-hmm. and just be like, dude, that's ridiculous.
Right.
What are you supposed to do there? Like fucking stop.
Right.
You know? So I greatly appreciate and I greatly value that.
Yeah, it's good. What's gonna be the first thing you do after you get immunized and things are back, like the third week of June in this next summer? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
So here's the embarrassing thing. I don't do anything. For 6 days out of the week, I wake up. I got one. I wake up, I get some kind of physical activity in, and then I come here for 10 to 14 hours and I go home and I go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So, I get takeout 90% of the time. So like, I don't, you know what I mean? In a depressing somewhat way, my life hasn't changed a whole lot. Going back to the gym, I think will be exciting. I forget what that feels like. But, outside of that, I think just knowing that you can it's kind of sad, but you almost have accepted the fact that you're just not going to see or not going to hang out with certain people because you can't really do it without planning it ahead of time and making sure everybody's good. So I think just that, being able to bro hug your friends when you see them.
Yeah.
And, being able to shake hands or high fives or just see the bottom half of people's faces. I think for me, it'll be the little things like that.
I didn't realize how much I rely on looking at people's micro emotions on their face. Like that's been one thing for me that, like, even before that, I didn't take a lot of face-to-face meetings just because in the nature of the business that I'm in, that, if I need to, pick something up or somebody's hair is on fire or something, like I try to make myself as available as possible. Yep. So if I'm sitting down having an hour and a half coffee with somebody, I can't excuse myself every 10 minutes to go check my phone. It's just rude. So I don't typically take those meetings anyway. But for me, it's amazing how much I relied on that. Like I'll sit and look at somebody's face, and the only way you can tell that they're smiling is if they get the wrinkles around I never realized how much I enjoyed it and relied on it. I think for me, the two things are, and Beth Ann already said it. She said being able to see your family. Exactly. That's been the really, really hard part. We actually had Thanksgiving outside because it was so nice here, which was great. So we did have our parents over for that, but we were all outside. We did the fire pit and the whole thing. It was awesome. But for me, what's been strange, and I just realized this the other day, is when you go into a store, like I only go to the grocery store. Now, I don't even go to the grocery store anymore. But almost seeing another person, having to avoid another human being is just so, I don't know. I almost don't even have the word for it. It's just so uncomfortable to me. Like, you're walking down an aisle at Rite Aid or something, to go in and get deodorant, like I was the other day. And I do it, and I find myself like doing this, like shimmying past another human being. And I just go to the store. And even if you just happen to bump into somebody, say, excuse me, like you normally do,
yeah.
But not avoid other humans is my answer. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I think part of that is just like we've almost become so conditioned to it that like that didn't even cross my mind.
Yep.
You know, so I think that'll be cool just to kind of not have to act like you or the person next to you has the bubonic plague every
Yep.
time you see him. And like, you know, we've gotten over it now. I mean, I remember we talked about it a couple months ago. You know, everybody, I mean, like obviously we know what we're supposed to do with masks and distancing and stuff like that, but everybody had from the get has had varying levels of comfort or discomfort with that. So you're never quite sure where to draw the line. So I think just getting back to that, and you know, for me, the other thing is that like I love like the serendipity of like running into people.
Yep.
Like, you know, whether it's like getting coffee or, you know, a lot of times when we go get food, like we'll go like order it, drink a beer at the bar and then come back. And like, you know, personally and professionally, you know, I mean, like personally, just that interaction with, you know, through serendipity, you run into people that you wouldn't have seen and caught up with otherwise. But like even professionally, you know, like I can think of 2 clients we have right now that we have them because the first conversation started because I ran into them leaving dinner.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So I think just having that element of life back will be cool. And then, you know, it's not hard to, you know, just the overall just happiness and like joviality of being able to get, especially in what we do too. Cause I was talking with Dave about it yesterday. You almost get so used to this stress that just sits right here. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's on edge and nobody's too sure what's going to happen. And then, especially for us in the client services world, their angst is our angst. Mm-hmm. And like anything, you almost stop feeling it after a while because you get so used to it. So I think just even not having that and, you know, being able to kind of open up creatively and, you know, do things like that again. I don't know. I think it's just going to be this just overwhelming weight off a lot of people's shoulders that's just going to make everything just a lot happier and a lot more fun.
Yep. I think of it like it's like a heavy fog just kind of sitting over everything, you know, and it feels like the sun's coming up to kind of burn off that marine layer. Like it's just now starting to feel like this is what I've been telling the kids because they thank goodness. I mean, our schools have been amazing when it comes to keeping the kids in school. Paige in the middle school has not missed one day through this not one day for this entire thing. And I was like, before school started, I was like, they're not going to make it even to Halloween. Like no chance. And here we are 2 weeks from Christmas, 3 weeks from Christmas. It's like amazing, absolutely amazing. The high school's been shut down a couple of times, but you know, they've gone back. They've shut down for like a week and gone back. So, but what I keep telling him is, you know, the excitement of the holidays is going to carry everybody through here for these next 3 to 4 weeks. I just think that, you know, especially having kids and still doing presents and things like that, that's going to be a lot of fun. But, you know, January and February are going to be rough. And this is what I'm telling clients too, is just like, start being mentally prepared as much as you can be that January and February are going to be really tough. Like I'm going to be either here or like at Toggenburg in the parking lot putting on my ski boots because I'm not even going to go inside at Toggenburg this year. But I'm going to try to ski my face off as much as I can because just for my own sanity. So, yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. There's just going to be so much. We're just going to feel free. Like we're going to be out of this straitjacket, you know, and just be able to just come and go as you please. But you said it about 5 minutes ago, just having that appreciation to be able to come and go as you please is just going to be so enlightening. It's probably not going to be till, you know, Memorial Day or even maybe the 4th of July. I don't know. But once it does here, I hope people remember this of what they're feeling. And that's why I love documenting all of this, you know, this show through all of this. Mm-hmm. Because anytime 3 years from now that you or I feel down, we're going to come back and you're going to be like, hey, remember when I used to have that pit in my stomach for a year?
Yep.
Oh yeah, things were a lot worse back then. Let's move on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, I think that this has shown just the need for particularly like, you know, businesses obviously, but everybody, the need to innovate, the need to at the very least, be prepared to try new things. You know, because I mean, when you look at it, like we always talk about, nobody was ready for this. You know, nobody was prepared. Very few people on March 21st, when this all happened, thought that we'd still be having the same discussions on December 4th. You know, so like, obviously this is like a hopefully once in a lifetime type of deal, but you know, it's no coincidence the people that were flexible and were willing to maneuver and change what they did, like those are the people that are still here, you know. And you know, not to be callous or you know unempathetic to other people, but I mean that's just what real life is, but it's stretched out over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that it'll kind of develop that appreciation and that level of gratitude, but I think it was also a serious wake-up call for people.
Mm-hmm.
That you know, just this is how we do it, this is how we've always done it, this is what we're going to do. Like that's just not how this world's going to work, I don't think. And I think a lot more people realize that today than did 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, it's almost like a market correction, but with people's businesses, you know. I mean, it's almost like the stock market just, you know, did black, you know, or just went off a cliff. And then you just, all of a sudden, when something shakes you to your core like that, it simply forces you to analyze everything, every penny coming in, every penny going out. What do I need? What don't I need? You know, it's like, holy smokes. I guess I didn't need, you know, all that other junk that I was spending money on. You know, it's like, streaming, it's like, holy cow, sure, streaming services you're going to pay for now because that's all we have going around here. But other than that, it's like, what else do you need? You know, did you need all that other stuff? And I think really it really did go through a market correction. And you're right, we've lost a lot of businesses. We've lost, you know what, and unfortunately some of them permanently, which is really, really sad. But I think the ones that are still here, the ones that can survive, the ones that still have a pulse are going to be the ones that are going to have an absolutely unbelievable second half of 2021. I really do.
I think so too, man. I think that it's just, you know, the biggest thing that I think people are going to recognize about this is that, and it's a conversation that we always have about marketing, but it's really about everything. Like for the longest time, you know, businesses made the rules, right? Where like you could pretty much dictate how your customer or your end consumer was going to act. You know, you watched every commercial that CBS showed you because it was one of 3 channels. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm probably the last of a generation that, you know, if you got up to get a snack or you had to go to the bathroom, you didn't know what happened and you missed that part of the show. Like there's no rewinding. There's no looking it up on YouTube. Like that was it. You know, you had to rely on what your brothers told you happened. Mm-hmm. You know, so even just looking at that and how much stuff has changed, you know, that's why Toys R Us owned Christmas, because they would just hammer Nickelodeon with like, you know, Street Fighters or whatever it was. Karate Fighters, that's what it was. I was obsessed with Karate Fighters when I was like 9. But we had to watch it. You couldn't, like, heaven forbid you missed the first 2 minutes of all that when it comes back. Like, you can't, that could be the funniest part of the show. You can't just miss that, and then it's gone for a week. You know, so they owned us that way. They controlled our behavior. Whereas now you flip it, you know, my goddaughter, her birthday's coming up in 9 days. She'll probably never see another real commercial in her life.
No.
That she can't, you know, fast forward through or anything like that. So, like, that's where, like all this shit has changed. And I think that you're going to see that on the other end of this. You know, like Instacart, the amount of people that are having groceries delivered that weren't 6 months ago, absurd. The amount of people that are paying Uber Eats or Grubhub an extra $6 to go pick up their food for them that's 7.5 minutes away. You know what I mean? My girlfriend just showed me. Have you heard of GoPuff before?
No.
It's Grubhub, but they will literally go to like the gas station or a corner store and get what you want. So if you want like a bag of Cheetos, a Milky Way, and a Dr. Pepper, I'm not making this up. I'm dead serious. They'll go get it and deliver it to your house.
Will they drive to Sheetz and Scranton and get me egg salad sandwiches?
There's a highly unlikely chance that they'll go that far. But still, if you had a Sheetz in Cazenovia, 1,000% they would.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? But like, that's just the world. Lauren's commenting.
What's it called?
I think it's GoPuff, Stay Puff. She'll comment. I don't know.
Stay Puft.
I've never
Stay
used
Puft and Ghostbusters.
the Stay Puft Mark. Yeah. Okay. But even 5 years ago, that would have sounded absurd. Like, it still sounds a little absurd now. And like, there's so many things that we've talked about. All of this shit is just fast tracking all that movement. You know, what would have taken 10 years, GoPuff. There you go. What would have taken 10 years to have a trend come to market is taken 10 months these days.
Right.
So like, it just comes out like, what are you going to do with it?
GoPuff. That's dangerous. That is dangerous.
Don't let Taven and Paige figure it out, or else they're just going to hack it and have just fucking.
Oh, I'm sure it's already on their phone. Are you kidding me? They tell me about stuff all the time. Come on. They're 14 and 12. Come on. Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Hey, Lauren on the show. Who's Scott Beefy Sable?
It's my brother. Is he watching too?
Yeah.
Dope.
Amy, Jamie, Beth Ann, always good to see you. Oh, Brian did answer. I missed this, Brian. I apologize. What's the biggest thing you missed from before COVID? He said real 5Ks. Brian's a runner. So live football, live music. My sister-in-law, Tara, watching. Ange, always good to see you. Last call for questions. Speaking of my children, I have to go pick one of my children up. So last call for question. And as always, thank you for watching. Yeah, man, I just think it's amazing to me that you and I always say the same things over and over and over because they all ring true. Is the way to insulate yourselves from market corrections and global pandemics and things like that is to continually trying to Beefy Sable.
Get the shout out.
Yep, shout out. Is to always try to put yourself out of business first. If you can try to put yourself out of business by spending the 20% of your time innovating, like you just said, you for no good reason other than speculating on what the future might hold, you diversified your own revenue streams within your business, but you had a perfectly good business going, but you knew to insulate yourself moving forward, whether it be some other hotshot agency coming into town or whatever it is that you were concerned about in the back of your mind or that pit in your stomach, you said, listen, I need to do this. I need to make sure that I'm trying to put myself out of business before somebody else does it. Now, that could mean my wife chiming in, you're welcome for the Riesling. She had a particularly tough day at work today, so she said the Riesling is in the fridge. So she's enjoying some Finger Lakes Riesling right now.
Siobhan, that's for both of us. You're watching.
Beth Ann says 5Ks too. Yes, Beth Ann's a big runner too. I just think that's why we try to pound on the same 5 things all the time, because whether times are good like they're going to be, when we hope they are in the second end of 2021, it's like my client texted me the other day. He goes, when these tours come back and when we're selling these drinks at these tours, he goes, now's the time to spike the football when we get there. Mm-hmm. But you have to put yourself in position during the hard times or even before the hard times to put yourself in position to win so that you can have the opportunity to spike the football. So, just because you don't think it's the perfect post or you don't think it's the perfect angle or you think like you have, bags under your eyes for the picture, it's not up to us to judge. We're not judge and jury. on this end. It's out there. It's their decision to make. So I think for me, it's so important to not cripple yourself by thinking what other people will think of you. Like you say, okay, we're going to be doing these extra three services, and I'm over here going, who the hell does Adam think he can do these extra three services? Adam does, and his team does. And if they do them well, and people continue to pay them for it, guess what? He's going to be known longer term as not just the marketing whiz kid, because that's what he was, but he's this full service client production that you have going now. And yeah. But it took that self-awareness to figure out what you wanted to do, execute on it, then simply continue to talk about the same things you know that you're good at. Then you become the thought leader. Then people think of you when they think about a photographer like they do with Beth Ann. That is how this whole thing works. It never changes.
Well, and I know you got to go, but I think it's a good thing to wrap up on. So I'll give you literally real life example. So one of those new offerings that we put out that I was talking about for a while, then I got serious about it about probably 6 weeks ago, was literally doing what John Taffer does in the first half of an episode of Bar Rescue for people's marketing and sales and customer flow, whatever. And like, I put a pretty hefty price tag on that, to the point where like people that like know us, like friends, like former business partners, are like, you're fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Like nobody's gonna pay you that much every month to come in and be like, hey, here's the 6 things you're doing wrong and you have to change. Mm-hmm. Obviously we're not that blunt with it, and it's more of a collaborative process, but still, you know, and like you talk about the whole, like, who the fuck does he think he is type of vibe. You're not going to get that any stronger than you get with, hey, pay me to come tell you what you're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. But guess what? People are. Yep. And, you know, we went through the same thing with Facebook 6 years ago. You want people to pay you to post on Instagram? Okay, buddy. You know, and then look at it now. So it's like we always talk about, you know, now everybody and their cousin is a social media expert with a marketing company that drives whatever. You know, 6 years ago, you were wild for thinking that people would do that. Yep. And then now everybody's doing it. So today, people are wild that you're going to go in and help these people literally fucking figure this out. 6 years from now, who knows? You know, so, but it's that thing. Being first is always more valuable than being 31st. Yep. And we're living it.
Well, and that's it. So the bottom line for me is you don't have to be the first one. You just have to be, you don't ever have to be the first one. You don't need to be the first one to jump off the boat, but you just need to be, you do need to be one of the first ones to jump off the boat, you know? And I think for me, the last piece of advice is, you know, we're heading into a time where we're going to be home again. We're going to be home again for a little while. And if you've ever wanted to do it, I know we keep saying it, but it's so important. I'll repeat myself. If you've ever wanted to make a change, whether it be with your own personal brand, your own business, starting your own business, turning a hobby into a business, making extra side hustle, there's never been a better time. Because if you sit down and you put your nose to the grindstone for the next 6 months and you turn off Netflix and you turn on YouTube for 45 minutes a night and you get out a pen and paper and you say, how can I make money flipping stuff on eBay? How can I make money flipping sneakers? How can I make money doing this? You go to YouTube, you will have 900,000 videos giving you the playbook about how to do what you are about to do. That is it. And if you spend the time wisely to do that, your life will be improved when the world opens up on Memorial Day 2021. There's just no other way, because you're not going to make less money. This only goes in one direction. You will always make more money. I mean, that is simply the punchline. So that is my final thought.
You're also roughly 70 to 110 times happier, which you can't put in your bank account, but I got to tell you guys, it's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. It is awesome. Well, thank you for everybody on. I'm telling you, man, I don't know.
This was a good ass show today. We had 15 people at one point.
We might just have to move it to happy hour. I don't know, man. It's just got a good vibe to it.
A, I'm definitely open to that. B, if we do that and we commit to making it happy hour and I start drinking a little Strut whiskey for this show,
you know,
it's going to be fire emojis.
There are enough people out there that I know where I could probably have them send us stuff for free just for the mention on the show during happy hour.
Ben, we don't do free ads at KBL. Strut whiskey is part of the family, so they're in.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a certain other one where I'm looking at a little fake box right now. That can be in very shortly as well.
Okay.
Now, if any of these people need a marketing agency to throw that little right hook, like your buddy Gary says, fucking send them my way. They can be on the show all they want at that point. I'm in.
I'm late to go pick up my kid. If you're watching live on Facebook, thank you. Instagram, thank you. If you're watching this and it's March 12th, if you're listening to this walking your dog and it's March 12th, 2021, and you still have that idea for that side hustle or to make money or to improve your personal brand, guess what? It's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be the exact same thing. But you still have time is my punchline. If it's March 12th, you still have time to do it before the world opens up. So, and then Spotify and iTunes. You and I have to talk about that soon too. So there you have it.
Agreed.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
See you.
I think I killed it. I killed it. All right. I'm telling you, man.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. Happy hours. It's a good time.
I'll pour a little Strut. I'm gonna literally have some this one a week, dude.
See? Do you really like it?
I do, and literally, hang on, Dave's back. Can you get that door open? He's got it. I like it, and the fucking viewership's like 3x what it normally is.
Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I love the live interaction. Number one. Number two.
Dave wants you to acknowledge him and say hi, please.
What are those?
That's our new lighting rig.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I'm not fucking around. Our content game is through the roof.
There's only one way to do it.
I love it. Where's the podcast studio?
It's going to be, dude, I'm telling you, all the back is coming out here in this incredibly wasted space. And then that back purple, probably wasn't purple when you were here last, but the back purple room where our desks are now, that's content. Do a little podcast booth, maybe one of those, not green screens, but like different little backdrops you could pull out. So you could have like a living room scene, a bar scene, the whole nine.
So cool. Check you out. I love it. Cool. We have to, we keep saying this. We have to do a whiteboard session.
1,000%.
All right. Before Christmas, will you commit to it before Christmas?
100%.
All right. Cool. I got to go get my kid.
Tell him I said what's up.
You got it.
Send me this recording too whenever you have a chance.
Oh, yes. Okay. It's gotta compress first.
It's gonna be a minute, yeah.
Yeah. And then you want it in the Google?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Perfect.
easy.
I'll do that tonight.
Sweet.
Thank you, sir.
See you.